Hello guys, Dama.K2 here. I made some more craft before starting up this series. I wanted to show off to you guys here in the first episode before I got too far into things. So we'll just start from the left over here and just work our way over. This here is a laser anti-air tank. I call it the Guten Nacht Laser Spag. And yes, that is a Sabaton song. Look it up. Anyway, it's done very well in my testing. Can one-shot a lot of the aircraft in the campaign. So I'll be very happy to have this, especially when I go up against the Lightning Hoods or the Steel Striders. I imagine they'll both be a huge pain in the ass when it comes to aircraft. I'll do some very skimpy things here with the armor, trying to make sure that it fit within the volume limit, and I wanted to keep the aesthetic as best I could. So yeah, lots of slopes in here, but I think it'll still be pretty well protected overall because it's still pretty much wrapped entirely in heavy armor. We got some flares here. Laser's pretty powerful. Yeah, we'll just unpause this so I can show you. And bring the UI back up. Just trying to see if I can get a good angle for you guys to be able to see this nonsense, but yeah, pretty much one-shot metal beams. I'm really happy with it. And over here we got some anti-aircraft missiles. Mark III assisted a little bit with developing this system, and I'd like to thank him for that. He's had quite an influence on a few of these designs here, but we'll get to those in a little bit. And down here is the actual laser itself. I'm using a regulator to try to give it more consistent, powerful shots. And over here we have the steam engine that's going to be running this beast. Let you guys have a look at it. I can sort of live with this, considering that this thing has got like only one purpose in life. So yeah. Anyway, once again, I'd like to thank Mark III and even Lilikari for helping me design this system. I'm still trying to learn steam engines, and they have been extremely helpful into my experimentation with them. Yeah, it's been a very, very nasty anti-aircraft tank so far, so I'm sure we'll find use for it. This right here should be familiar to you guys. One of the tanks that I have done for my tank tutorial series. It will be making an appearance here in my campaign. Except now it is called the Thunderstorm medium tank. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it'll do pretty well early and mid-game. The early and mid-game will probably be more of a test for the light tanks. So this would probably be more like, something probably more along the lines of the Steel Striders would be what this thing will potentially go up against. Anyway, has a decent APS cannon on here. One of my favorite gauges, 400mm. Rated 10.8 RPM. And just a little bit of light anti-aircraft fire from this thing. It always seems like a good idea to have just a little something extra like that on top. Not really a whole much left to say about this guy, but I could show you guys the shell real quick if I could find the darn thing. It does use 3-meter autoloaders though, and it's got lots of ammo pretty much all over the place because I wanted to give this thing a lot of redundancy. And that's what the shell looks like. This is for the 400mm main gun. And over here, this is just something that I've been kind of experimenting with and on because I figure at some point it probably would be wise for me to create some kind of heavy missile platform to be used as some kind of artillery. And this right here is the Symphony of Destruction Missile Artillery, named after a Megadeth song. So let me just show you guys the missiles that I came up with for this thing. Of course, I wanted this design because I figured it'd be really easy for me to change out to different types of missiles really fast, different missile sizes, all kinds of good stuff. So yeah, something I think that'll be very, very useful here. Basically, right now they're just set up for high explosive anti-tank. Of course, these could be outfitted to whatever, but I was just doing some experimentation involving the remote guidance and trying to use the radar buoys to try to boost its tracking of the target. I kind of adopted this idea from Azul, who did a similar thing with torpedoes and sonar. And this guy over here has been one of my favorites. Very tough nut to crack here. This is going to be my heavy tank for now. I do have some plans to try to make something even heavier in the future. It is the Ruina Imperia heavy tank. And I may have butchered that, please let me know if I did. She is powered by a fuel engine. And this runs shields that are in the front of the tank in a butterfly configuration. And there's also one in the turret of the tank as well. All of them running at strength 10, because that's any lower than that and shields are pretty much worthless, if they weren't already worthless enough as it is, but that's another topic for another time. Of course, have the 60mm autocannon on top of the turret here, just to give this some light anti-air capability, which I like on a lot of my tanks. We also have here a dual set of 130mm casemate guns. I believe I have these all set up to fire, yes, squash heads. Basically the same shell that's used in the main turret. This uses 4-meter long 400mm HESH. I'll just remove the structural block so I can show you what the shell looks like. Has very good muzzle velocity considering all the explosive damage that was able to fit into it. I have used this shell to one-shot the, scarabs from the Steel Striders, and it works quite well, actually. We also, back here, have some decoy deployers, just to try to give this thing a little more survivability versus missile-based craft. And that's also why we got these munition warners all over the place. And we do have some redundant sensors and things like that, because that's always a good thing to have. So yeah, I've been very happy with this tank. Mainly designed to fight stuff like Onyx Watch, things like that. So yeah, moving on. And this is the brand new Hatred Copter. Hatred Copter Mark II. I have seen this thing solo bison tanks, which I'm very happy to say. A lot of very small missiles here. I thought I'd set these up to active radars here, but yeah. Basically just completely saturates an area, with its missiles. I even got a few of the larger ones on the sides, and that's just to give it a little more power. They do have signal processors just in case if flares are employed. And just a quick little autocannon down here. It probably isn't going to do a whole hell of a lot, but I like the way it looks. And let's just give you guys a quick look on the inside of it. Pretty tight in here. I've been very happy with it so far, and like I said, it seems to do well against the heavier Onyx Watch tanks, so yay that. And over here we have a very high-speed bomber, does about 180 meters a second. I call it the Dream Destroyer Heavy Bomber. And one of the good things about this bomber is it's something that I could easily just remove the weapon system from inside it and replace it with something else that's possibly even more dangerous. Right now it's just armed with large radar guided APN bombs down here. Not a whole lot to them, but they do have a lot of damage. Kills a lot of tanks in just 1 or 2 passes. Yeah, I did miss a little bit of painting here. Probably knowing that I'm doing this on camera, I know, but if I don't do it now, I won't think to do it later. Here we go. I'll just go ahead and drop a save on that. Move on. Oh yeah, should probably let you guys have a look at the insides. It is powered by 4 large custom jet engines. The shape itself was heavily inspired by some of the things I've seen Mark III do with his designs. And I was pretty much just doing about everything I could to try to get this thing as streamlined as I could. Which is part of the somewhat bizarre shape of this. Or why I came up with it anyway. But proof is in the pudding. It's fast. It's powerful. At one point though, I am considering gutting the missiles here and probably putting like maybe a pack in there that just faces downwards. Quite possibly maybe even try using cram bombs. I don't know. But, yeah, I've been pretty happy with it. It does very well against very hardened targets. Which reminds me, I do have a huge missile version of this guy over here that I may or may not employ. I haven't decided yet. I'm still on the fence of whether I like the idea of huge missiles because they just seem like just huge freaking cheese. Where you can essentially two-shot a heavy tank in ashes. And I think the missiles, to get a decent-sized one, probably like maybe 500 some odd material, something like that, per shot. Something ridiculous like that. Anyway, let's just move on to the last one here. This little guy here, me and Ion Mark III kind of co-authored a little bit. I came up with the original concept and design, and he did some very good things to optimize it. For one thing, it's more efficient, and it is 20 meters per second faster than it was in its original configuration that I gave to Ion. So, thank you, Ion, if you happen to catch this video. I appreciate the help with it. I did have to change up the missiles though. They weren't quite what I was looking for as far as something that an interceptor would need. I wanted something that had just a little bit more turning power and a lot more speed. So this is the configuration that I came up with that. And that's pretty much its only armament right now. This is just meant to be an extremely fast interceptor, and will most likely be employing this against the mid to late game designs, I imagine. Don't mind that, that just means one of my tournament videos is ready. But considering her cost and how fast it gets, I think this is going to be a very, very useful design. Especially since you have so much that you can do with missiles nowadays. Different sizes, different shapes, all kinds of different prospects that we could try doing with this thing sometime in the future. Anyway, just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of all of these. I hope you found it interesting. So yeah, let's go ahead and get the campaign started. Alright, so I just want to bring this up in case you guys want to read it. We are going to be basically original Ashes of the Empire. We are going to be working within the confines of the 2,500 meters cubed restraints placed on this, which will be fine, trust me. I've done a little bit of testing with this campaign, and we had some pretty solid designs for this, so I'm not too worried about it. So let's go ahead and launch this, and I'm going to go ahead and use custom settings. We're not going to mess with the damage difficulty, enemy growth factor. I always max that out. I'm hoping to try to show you guys some fairly decent battles here. I'm not going to go like very hard or anything like that. I'm just doing this for fun, and I'm not here to make a masochist of myself, for lack of a better term. Anyway, let's go ahead and begin a new campaign. And here we go. So one of the first things I want to do, let you guys read this here real quick. Feel free to pause if you want to, if you need a little more time. Okay, so first thing up is we're going to start putting down, actually, yeah, we're going to be putting down some of our material collectors. These are a hell of a lot more efficient than basically anything that's out there right now. I mean, as far as in the campaign itself. Let's see here. We need... Where is it? Glorious Landmark 2. I'm just going to go ahead and take that out. And there's a lot of stuff around here that we really don't need, like these turret emplacements. Go ahead and get rid of those. Just a lot of scrap that we could be using for other things. Dauntless, yeah, don't really give a shit about you. Goodbye. And turret emplacement, we don't need you either. Let's get rid of you. Land harvester. Yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of that. But we're gonna plow and get rid of that because it just make this go a little quicker. Okay, so I'll bring you guys back in once I have everything up and running. And by that I mean we're going to make sure that we have good resource collection here, and we're also going to be setting up collection here and here. I'm going to probably use one of my helicopters to try to start doing that, so yeah, I'll bring you guys back in once we get that done. Okay guys, so this is what I've done here so far off camera. I tore down the material collector over here and replaced it with two of my more efficient ones. Up here I did the same thing. I also have torn down the material collector here. Basically tore down everything but the land claim marker. And we got two of the glorious land harvesters here. We got it. This is pretty much just meant to be a central point that all the materials can be brought to. So I just put like as much material storage in it as I can, and that's pretty much going to be like its only purpose in this campaign. Just a centralized collection point. I also do have a transport helicopter. I believe I brought it to the central base here. Yeah, it needs to just come up a little bit more. And so far that's kind of how I've been ferrying my materials back and forth so far. I imagine I'll probably have like a whole fleet of these things before this thing's over with, so yeah. It's just coming in to get these ready to go. I got a Death Harmonic fighter bomber here ready to go, and a pair of the Wehrmacht light tanks. And we're going to be using those in our offensive here soon. Let's see here. Have I done anything else? Yeah, I made a couple of spy satellites, and I'm taking these squares here right now. I'm not entirely sure if anyone owns this territory right here or not. I think it might be worth trying to see if I can snipe it, but well, we'll just have to wait and see. I think though I'm going to do a little bit more prep work here, and I'll be back with you guys here in a little bit. Alright, so just skipping ahead here a little bit. I am currently moving my craft here down to this area right here where we're going to try to attack this resource zone here and hopefully capture it. Well, I say hopefully, I'm pretty sure I'm going to capture it, but anyway. I want to put these guys into a fleet here. There we go. Moving at a pretty decent clip there. Also, I don't think that this has been taken by anyone just yet, so we're going to try to see if we can snag it for ourselves with one of the spy satellites. So I'll bring you back once we're in position to assault this facility over here. Alright, so we're now just in the process of capturing this area here. I have a supply helicopter ready to go, and we're just going to move him into position here so that we can start laying down our material gathers here once we have this taken. Looks like the white flares are trying to move in as well. Oh, they can try. I think we're probably in position to attack now. So I'm just going to drop a save here real quick. And we're going to pull a Terrence and Phillip here. And by that I mean we're going to go right to the Dustwind Gypsies. And we're going to tell them, shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker. Alright, so let's see here. There's some pretty stout units here. I think they'll be just fine. Death Harmonic, we'll go ahead and spawn in on you. I want the tanks up front. I don't know why they just have everything automatically be like a default air vehicle or something like that. Makes no sense to me. Anyway. I think we're in position here. Alright. Let's begin battle. And yeah, let's get rid of that. Hit that. So I think we can up the amount of units just a little bit more. There we go. I wanted that second Vermont out there. Yeah, they seem to be going a little slow, don't they? But they are getting some shots in on that seaboard, or sea fortress up there. Good luck trying to hit them at that distance with the cram cannon that's in that thing. But then again, our accuracy isn't so good itself right now. All right. There's still a Touareg out there. They're not too bad. Matter of fact, I think I'm just going to max this out so we can bring in the fighter bomber, because that thing is going to be a hell of a lot more helpful than not being spawned in. So yeah. And that guy's pretty much about dead there. You're dead. And let's have everything focus fire on him. Thankfully it's going after the fighter bomber, which good luck trying to hit that. Which it really seems like it's struggling with doing right now. Of course they say that and gets a couple of APS shots off on it. Ooh, I thought it was going to take a cramp to the face. Do not want that. I might be holding on to the weapons. That's one of the reasons why I don't like using F9, because chances are I fucked something up like that. Fighter bomber has taken a little bit more damage. Oh, I think we're in a death spiral. Which I'm okay with, because that's gonna act as a distraction. If it gets too hopeless here, I'm probably just gonna despawn it. But right now it's perfectly fine doing what it's doing. And that's dead. Tesh might have finally hit something juicy in there. I think I'm going to despawn the fighter bomber, because, yeah, it's probably just going to smack itself into the ground, and that's just repair work that I don't want to pay for. So right now we're just trying to take this fortress out. Seabird Cannon Fortress. I'm not quite sure why that other Wehrmacht tank is stuck all the way the hell out here. Maybe if I gave it a movement order? There we go. I'm going to see if I can spawn on the other one, see if I can get some repairs done on it. Then again, that might not be a thing in this version anymore. I don't think you can repair it within enemy territory, but don't quote me on that. Alright. Yeah, this thing is pretty good at taking small crams to the face, it don't care. It's got some pretty sturdy armor. Wehrmachts are doing some pretty good work here, not gonna lie. And they're like, what, 20-some odd thousand materials? Yeah. Wonder how much material that dropped. Okay, about 5k. That's definitely something we'll use. I don't think I'm going to bother capturing this. I mean, we'll be fine without materials in it. No, we just took on a force with a far superior block count, if you guys seen that at the beginning of the video there. Or, not the beginning of the video, but the beginning of the actual battle itself. Block count doesn't really seem to mean a whole lot, because it could just be that the enemy has built everything out of wood, so that doesn't necessarily mean that they have any real advantage over you, because wood just flakes off like nothing. You can just sneeze on it and it'd fall off. I'm not quite sure this guy is turned to the side like that. Might have had something damaged. As long as it keeps shooting at it, I'm not going to care. There we go. And what's this over here? Python. Okay. So we're going to pull all. And we're just going to wait right here for that Python to roll up. Can we do any repairs here? It seems we can. Thought I told you guys to pull all. There we go. Alright guys, well I think I'm off to a pretty good start here. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video here. So, I'd like to thank you all for watching. This has been Dama 2 with part 1 of my From the Depths, Ashes of the Empire campaign. I'd like to thank you all for watching. You all have yourselves a hell of a day, and keep your hammer high. Later.